Welcome to Week 1, Unit 4, SAP Fiori UX Architecture Overview. In the previous unit, I introduced you to the three app types currently supporting SAP Fiori UX: transactional apps, analytical apps, and fact sheets. In this unit, we will be discussing the architectures that the three SAP Fiori UX app types follow. As we move through this unit, you're going to notice some commonalities among the architectures, as well as be able to understand the differences and how these apps can best fit into your current infrastructure. To start off the architecture topic, I want to discuss with you the deployment options for SAP NetWeaver Gateway. Depending on your system landscape, you have two deployment options: a central hub deployment or an embedded deployment. When implementing Fiori apps into your landscape, we at SAP recommend separating your business logic and the UI components from each other by implementing the central hub deployment option. This deployment option provides a single point of maintenance for UI issues, as well as a central place for theming and branding SAP Fiori apps. You'll benefit from enhanced security due to there being no direct access to the backend data. And finally, the central hub option allows for decoupling the lifecycle of the UI apps from the backend. This is especially important for transactional apps that can run on any database. The central hub deployment option is the recommended approach, and going forward, you will notice all architecture, deployment, and configuration topics, as well as supporting documentation, follow this deployment option. This slide details the architecture of SAP Fiori apps at the highest level possible. All clients accessing SAP Fiori apps, regardless of app type, must support HTML5. A reverse proxy server, we recommend using the SAP Web Dispatcher, is required for analytical app types and fact sheets. The ABAP front-end server is recommended for all app types and contains the UI components and SAP NetWeaver Gateway. An ABAP backend server is required for all app types and contains the backend business logic and data, as well as search models for fact sheets. The SAP HANA Extended Application Services, or SAP HANA XS Engine for short, is needed for analytical app types only, and it replicates the data from the backend server and remodels it using virtual data models. As discussed previously, the underlying database can be any database for transactional apps, but it must be SAP HANA for fact sheets and analytical app types. In order to transfer application data and security credentials within your Fiori system landscape, communication must be established to the various servers using different communication channels and protocols. Let's talk this through by first focusing on the transactional app type. The client communicates directly with the ABAP front-end server by issuing HTML and OData requests through an established HTTPS connection. Data and services from the ABAP backend server are provided to the ABAP front-end server through OData services. Communication between the ABAP front-end server and the ABAP backend server is achieved through a trusted RFC connection. All app types follow the same communication channels and protocols. However, in addition, a web dispatcher is needed for fact sheet and analytical app types. Also, in the fact sheet landscape, a client can issue an INA request for search models using HTTPS communication. And analytical app types also communicate between the web dispatcher and the SAP HANA XS Engine. The SAP Web Dispatcher forwards OData requests from the client to the SAP HANA XS Engine, and the communication is achieved through an HTTPS connection. In Week 4, Prakalp will talk to you in more detail about securing these communication channels. This is the detailed architecture of the transactional app types. Let's take it from the top. The ABAP front-end server contains all the infrastructure components to generate an SAP Fiori app-specific UI for the clients and to communicate with the backend systems. The product-specific add-ons are the specific UIs for each SAP Fiori app. The UI infrastructure provides the common infrastructure needed for all SAP Fiori apps and contains the SAP UI5 control library and the SAP Fiori Launchpad. SAP NetWeaver Gateway handles the communication between the client and the SAP Business Suite backend. It uses OData services to provide the backend data and functions and processes HTTPS requests for OData services. The ABAP backend server is where the SAP Business Suite products are installed. These products provide the business logic and backend data, including roles and authorizations. The database for transactional apps, which I said before, can be any database or SAP HANA. This is the detailed architecture of analytical app types. For this landscape, you would need to have a reverse proxy installed in your landscape. In this architecture, you can see that we're using the SAP Web Dispatcher as the entry point for HTTPS requests. It can reject or accept connections, and when it accepts a connection, it selects the appropriate application server, either the ABAP front-end server, the HANA XS engine, or SAP NetWeaver Gateway to send requests to. The ABAP front-end server primarily remains the same. We still have the product-specific add-on, the UI infrastructure, and SAP NetWeaver Gateway. For the product-specific UI, we added the UI for HANA, which includes the Smart Business KPI framework. This framework is used to configure, view, and analyze the KPIs and drill downs in your tiles. Daniel will be discussing this with you in more detail at the end of week 3. The SAP Business Suite products are installed on the back-end server. However, when using analytical app types, this data is replicated from the back-end server to the HANA XS engine. The XS engine is a lightweight application server in SAP HANA that takes the back-end data and remodels it using virtual data models. The app content that you see in the HANA XS engine in this slide provides filters and views as well as additional data for the products running on the SAP HANA server. The virtual data models for this app type are deployed with SAP HANA Live. We're going to discuss more details about this architecture in week 3. And of course, you know by now that this app type needs to run on an SAP HANA database. The final app types are fact sheets, and this slide shows you a detailed view of the architecture. With the exception of running on SAP HANA, having a web dispatcher in the landscape and the search models, the landscape is the same as the transactional app types. This architecture layout is more detailed in an effort to show you how the search works. The main takeaway here is that search models are exposed via OData. This now completes Unit 4, SAP Fiori UX Architecture Overview. In the next unit, you will meet our guest speaker, Bob Caswell, who will talk to you about the SAP Fiori rapid deployment solutions we're currently offering.